Tonight at 11.
Doom!
Alright, ladies and gents, Doom 2 is a quick follow-up to Doom 1993. Instead of being broken up into episodes, it's one long run-on game. A handful of new enemies have been added, and just one new weapon. Started on an entryway, it's a small level that took me a bit to get through with the number of enemies, and only having the pistol. I found the shotgun and a secret outside here, which is a good thing, because I'm tapped out of ammo for the pistol already. I spent the majority of the time in this one just looking for the secrets. Under halls, this level really sets the tone for the rest of Doom 2. The number of shotgunners, zombies, and imps is just silly in some of these levels, and this is where it all starts. I found the super shotgun in this one, and Doom Guy's face about sums it up, but more on that later. Something I will point out right away is how useful the crosshair in Doom 2 actually is. With all the elevation changes, having a crosshair that changes color really helps with the lack of vertical aiming, especially on some of the later levels. The Gauntlet, but spelled wrong. First new enemy of Doom 2 is in this one, the Chain Gunner. These bastards are a nuisance. More so in open areas where they can get a good bead on you. A couple of these guys will absolutely melt through health and armor if you stay in their line of fire. They also seem slightly tougher than the imps. I found it took a couple of blasts with the shotgun to put them down. Honestly, these guys fill a massive void in the original Doom's enemy list, and they're a pretty welcome addition. The level itself is pretty good, it's pretty Gauntlet-like, and some of Doom's platforming to get into secrets is back. All in all, it's a good map. The Focus, an interesting level, pretty dark, filled with lower level enemies, and some moving set pieces that don't really make sense. This area here messed with me like crazy. Why in the fuck would you make the little box lower the platform and not the switch? The Waste Tunnels. If you're blind and didn't get the super shotgun in the underhalls, you'll get it right away at the beginning of this map. I really like this one. Lots of dark areas and different routes that you can take to approach the fight in your own way. One thing I'm not a fan of in Doom 2 is the use of the Spectres. The maps are a lot darker than the original Doom, and the level designers took advantage of that, and they put Spectres fucking everywhere. The only saving grace is the fact that the reticle changes color. This isn't really a complaint about just this level, but almost all levels in the game. This level also introduces the Hell Knight, which looks like just a reskinned Baron. It looks like it has all the same animations, just a different look and less health. Okay, so let's finally talk about this super shotgun. I don't really get why people have such a wide on for this thing. Sure, it's powerful. I mean, it took down this Hell Knight in a couple of well-placed shots. It'll kill a Pinky in one blast, and it's probably the most effective weapon to kill the fucking Lost Souls. However, it has some major drawbacks. The reload speed is slower than the Second Coming of Christ. It fires 2 shells at once, which is fine after you find the ammo backpack, but until then it's kind of just a waste of ammo, especially when you're using it on the lower tier enemies, when the standard shotgun will kill the same enemies with just 1 shell. And the effective range on this thing is fucking brutal. You know what? I found a clip that shows exactly how you need to use Doom's super shotgun.
I'm gonna fuck you. I'm gonna get your asshole. Yeah, I'm gonna fuck you. Oh yeah, come back here.
I'm mostly kidding. This early in the game, the super shotgun is pretty unnecessary. It'll become a staple in my arsenal during some of the later levels. I do wish it was bound to a different key. I prefer using the regular shotgun for the weaker enemies, especially at a distance, and having to cycle through the shotguns to get to the one I want is kind of a pain in the ass. The rest of the Waste Tunnels is a pretty decent map. There's a plasma gun and a secret in this one. Took me a minute to figure out how to get to it, but that's my own fault. The Crusher. This level introduces the Revenant right at the beginning, but it shows up in this tight, dark area, so you don't really get to see how much of a pain in the ass these things can be. There's also a Spider Demon and, a giant Crusher. Didn't see the button to lower the Crusher at first, and I thought I was just supposed to go toe-to-toe. Having to use the Crusher to kill this thing killed the pacing of this map so bad. I thought maybe you could telefrag it, but nope. You're stuck waiting for this slow-ass column just to come down and crush it. After getting through the blue door, the level picks back up, and it was actually enjoyable to play through. There's 3 Revenants in a monster closet here, and now that these bony bastards have some space, they start shooting their homing rockets at you, and these things will not stop. And there's something about how these things are animated that I just find super creepy. Most of these monsters have fairly smooth movements, but the Revenant has this kind of choppy and jarring movement that reminds me of the skeletons from Army of Darkness. I also came across the Megasphere in here, which tops your health and armor up to 200%, and I finally got the ammo backpack, so the super shotgun is back on the menu. Up to this point, all but one level has been done by American McGee, and this is about where the fun in Doom 2 drops off for me. Don't get me wrong, there's peaks and valleys throughout the rest of the game, but there's a lot of valley. Unlike Doom 1993, Doom 2 doesn't have episodes, it's just one run-on map list, with little intermissions with text to explain the story. First 6 maps have more of an underground feel, the next 6 are in an infested starport, and the first of the starport maps is dead simple. And the title about sums it up. Start out facing a room full of mancubus. Mancubi? What's the plural of that? Anyway, these are one of the most difficult enemies in the game for me. They are spongy as hell, but the thing I struggle with the most is their attack. Most enemies' projectiles move in a straight line, but the mancubus fires volleys of fireballs that have a seemingly random flight pattern. Then there's the Arachnotron, just miniaturized versions of the Spider Demon, but instead of having a chain gun, they fire balls of plasma. More of a nuisance than a problem, just gotta keep moving. Tricks and traps. This is about where Doom 2 goes from an enjoyable challenge to getting absolutely wrecked. McGee's maps are no longer center stage. From here on out, most of the maps are Sandy Peterson's, with a sprinkle of John Romero and American McGee in there, just to keep me from blowing my fucking brains out. Tricks and Traps isn't really that tough. Seems more like it was a level where Sandy was experimenting with some of the different game mechanics. There's a shitload of enemies crammed into this one, and it's pretty entertaining. This is where I found the BFG for the first time, and like a moron, I cleared out the entire room with a super shotgun. The room filled with the imps though, that's a different story. Someone on a previous video commented on how I was using the BFG wrong and told me the correct way to use it, and thank you. I was thinking this thing was an overhyped piece of garbage for a long time, but now that I can get it to work, it's really a kick-ass weapon. I decided I was going to unload in this room filled with the Barons and the Cyber Demon, and what a poor choice that was. The infighting was definitely a better tactic. This hall with the chainsaw reminded me of why I hate Peterson so much. A monster closet with a Baron that teleports behind you right away, and a hall that's barely wide enough to dodge any projectiles. Fuck you, Sandy. The Pit. It's a decent map. Some pretty good sized arenas with lots of room to move and monsters to kill. It's a bit confusing to navigate, but it's not too bad. The level does introduce the worst enemy in the game though, the Pain Elemental. Whatever sadistic son of a bitch dreamt this up is a right floppy cock. If you thought the Lost Souls were bad, how about a monster that spits them out? I don't know what was going on in this level. The Pain Elementals would do the animation like they were spitting out the Lost Souls, but thank God they weren't spawning. Not only do these bastards spit out the Lost Souls, but when they die, they'll spawn another 3 from their carcass. The rest of the map is not too bad, just so many Lost Souls. Refueling Base. This is the first map I played through where I questioned what I was doing. I remember sitting there thinking, well, that might be it for me. The enemy count is so high, and my ammo was running so low. This area with the alcoves packed with monsters was really cool, but that was the only part of this one that I actually enjoyed. I didn't even attempt to fight the Cyber Demon at the end. I spent a total of 37 minutes getting through this one, and it was 37 minutes of hell. And with that, we're a third of the way through this nightmare. Circle of Death. This is the first entry from John Romero. It starts out pretty tough, getting hit from all angles, but once you clear out the circle, it's not a bad map. Up this way to fight a couple of Arachnotrons, and my toaster has a bit of a seizure here from the power of this BFG. Right after that is the introduction of the final new enemy in the game, the Archvile. They're fast, able to resurrect dead enemies, and have this line of sight attack that blocks your vision. And if you don't break that line of sight or kill them, they have this attack that launches you across the map, and that one hurts. Put them down fast and it's not so bad. Not nearly as bad as the Pain Elementals. The rest of this one is pretty straightforward. We're done with the starport. It's off to the hometown to find the source of the alien invasion. I thought we were fighting demons, but I guess they're alien to Earth. Anyway, remember when I said there was a lot of peaks and valleys? Well, now starts the valley, and it's deep. The Factory is the first of the cityscape themed maps. It's okay, just kind of par for the course. There was a few areas where I didn't even have to explore to get through the level. Downtown, absolute trash. If you have to put a giant arrow in the map telling the player where to go, your level design is probably dog shit. Even with the big arrow, it was still a confusing mess. And while I'm bitching about things, putting the monsters in the windows and on rooftops in a game with no vertical aiming, like, why would you do that? Especially when they're silhouetted against a dark background, or in this room with this slow as fuck elevator, trying to rely on your reticle turning red to be able to figure out where the enemies are, it's garbage, and I hate it. The Inmost Dens. American McGee coming in to give you a little bit of a break from Sandy's bullshit. This one gives me a Tomb Raider or Indiana Jones vibe. I like it. It's very brown, but I like it. Industrial Zone, another entry from John Romero, and I really like this one. This map is just huge in general. There's a ton of verticality. And again, the enemies are up high, but you can back up far enough that you can see where they are and what you're shooting at. There's a bit of platforming, jumping from building to building, which isn't the easiest in Doom because it's hardly ever a full speed run. A lot of the time you have to let off the throttle a little early, but I can't think of anything in this one that I don't actually like. Room here with the BFG is kinda what the fuck, but I feel like John always gives you enough room to maneuver when he puts you in a tough spot. So in Doom 2, I didn't find many of the computers, mostly because I didn't look for them. But I did find one in this map, and I'm glad, because it shows this area hidden back here. Now, I don't exactly know how I opened this area up, but it leads to a secret level. Wolfenstein. Now, I never would have guessed that I'd be experiencing Doom 2 and Wolfenstein for the first time during this playthrough. I really enjoyed this level. It's nice and simple, a good break from the sometimes confusing nonsense of the main maps of the game. The music track is really good, and the sound of people marching included in that really sucked me into this level. All the swastikas have been swapped out for this triangle-shaped thing, and they even took Hitler's mustache. There's a couple of pinkies in this room that occupy the same space, so they just run on the spot until one of them is killed. There's a couple secrets in this one. This one with the ammo backpacks, a super shotgun, and a megasphere. Some of the areas I thought would be secrets weren't. There's a berserk pack near the end of the map, so you know, I've got to punch some Nazis. I got through the level no problem, but there's still 3 secrets I'm missing. So I spend the next 7 minutes running around humping walls trying to find them. I pretty much did the whole level again and touched every wall, and I finally find the rest of the secrets near the end of the map and the exit to another secret level. Gross? I don't know. Another Nazi-themed map, just a huge arena filled with Nazis and a cyber demon at the other end of the hall. This final room I don't get, just 4 of these little dudes hanging here, and you have to shoot them to leave the map. So I had to look this one up, and it's a character from one of id's other games, Commander Keen. Kind of like Dopefish, I guess. Suburbs. And we're back into more terrible maps from Sandy. This one reminds me of Mount Erebus from Inferno. Just a big open area with a bunch of shit slapped on it and called a map. I don't know how people play maps like this on Nightmare and get 100% kills, because this horde that teleports in when you grab the blue key is ridiculous. I like a challenge, but I don't like getting so frustrated that I want to yard sale my computer through the fucking window. Once I figured out where the exit was, I grabbed that blue key and I booked it straight to the end. Tenements. Another Romero map, and it's not my favorite. This one is one of the ones where John took a page from Sandy's playbook. Up this elevator straight into the face of a cacodemon, and you have to tank the thing because you have nowhere to go. And the end of this one here, where you have to go back and forth between different halls to open up the next area in the same hallways, is absolute dog shit. The courtyard. I thought this was maybe a bug and I couldn't open the door, but nope, you shoot the door to open it, and every time you shoot through that door, it makes the same switch sound again. It's fucking silly, but I like this one quite a bit. I don't know how Sandy pulled this one off here, but I enjoyed this trap. Other than a couple more traps, it's just a big open arena, and there's one more door that makes the switch sound again every time you shoot through it. It's not bad at all. The Citadel. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. A good mix of big open arenas and tight corridors. I did find it a bit tough to navigate, but all in all, a pretty good level. I didn't even bother looking for the blue key in this one. Turns out you only need 2 of the 3 keys to get to the exit, so I just bailed. Gotcha! This one is a bit of an odd map. I spent a fair bit of time trying to navigate through it. It's got this part right off the bat here with a spider demon and a cyber demon. I'm assuming you're supposed to get them to infight, and I was able to, but it took me a few tries. The map itself is kind of clunky and some mix-match set pieces, but it's not terrible. One thing that starts showing up at this point in the game is the teleporters that take you back to previous locations in the map. They don't seem to serve a purpose other than frustrating the player. We're done with the cityscape maps now, and we're diving into hell. Nirvana is one of my favorites in the game. It did take me a minute to realize what I was supposed to be doing in this room with the 4 switches, but the map is basically just one tough fight after another, and this wide open area packed with enemies was a lot of fun to get through. And I caught an imp nuking the rest of his buddies when he popped this barrel. The Catacombs. This is American McGee's last contribution to Doom 2, and it might be his weakest entry, but to be fair, I struggled to find my way through this one. After playing it a few more times, maybe it is a good map. I'm pretty sure I telefragged an imp here, but I'm not too sure. By this point in the playthrough, I'm pretty much just using the Berserk packs as health kits. Barrels of Fun. This one is a novelty level for sure. Kind of an entertaining way to get away from constantly getting fucked in this game. Outside of the shitload of pain elementals and an archvile that you have to fight with hardly any cover, while there's a couple of chain gunners peppering you in the ass, it's a pretty good map with a ton of monsters to cut your way through. The Chasm. I hate this map. The whole tightrope walking is garbage. And of course, you drift a bit when you let off the walking key, so you're sitting there finger fucking your keyboard while trying not to get knocked off by cacodemons or lost souls. Blood Falls. The only contribution by Sean Green, and it's okay, nothing special. I don't get how these tunnels are so dark when there's a torch every 10 feet, and I'm pretty sure there's a secret room here with nothing in it. I do like this last arena right at the end. Anytime I get to point blank and archvile with the BFG is a good time. The Abandoned Mines. I think at this point I just wanted to be finished playing the game, because this is by no means a bad map. It just felt really long. I was only in it for 11 minutes, but it felt like forever. And there was way too many cacodemons. Monster Condo. I didn't mind this one at all. The monster closets were done pretty tastefully. Even the ones that were full of Hell Knights had an invincibility power up, so they weren't too abusive. I need somebody to explain to me how this room with the yellow key works. I tried so many times to figure it out. Am I not seeing something because I have the light visor on? Is it a bug? Like, what the fuck is going on here? I was only able to get the room at the back with the Revenants to open up once, but I got wrecked right away. I spent at least 10 minutes in this one room. I eventually got fed up, reloaded the start of the map, and when I got back here, I said fuck it, made a mad dash for the blue key, and got out of there before the door closed. I swear to God the BFG hardly does any damage to the Revenants, because look at this. The end of this one is just swarms of high-level monsters, nothing too crazy. The Spirit World, not terrible. Most of the level is pretty straightforward, and Sandy was very generous with the invincibility power-ups. And a good thing too, because the enemy list in this one is top-heavy. A couple Spider Masterminds, 4 Archviles, and close to 20 Revenants. The map itself is pretty good. There's one hallway with some invisible walls, and if I wasn't rocking God mode when I got in there, I'd probably be pretty pouty about it. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to get to the exit in this one. I knew where I needed to go, but I had no idea how to open it. I cheated and used Google. I feel like this one should have been the final level before the final boss, but it's pretty good. The Living End. I fucking love this level. Working your way around the edge of the map, fighting through waves of demons, all while a Mancubus is taking pot shots at you. It's great. A little heavy on the cacodemons, but really that's all I can complain about on this one. I honestly don't have anything more to say. But if John thought I was going to go toe-to-toe with a cyber demon at the end of this one, he was nuts. The Icon of Sin. Out of the very few games that I've played from this era, and keep in mind my frame of reference is small, mostly Duke and the first Doom, this is probably the toughest boss fight I've come across. Just a huge arena with the Icon of Sin, spawning monsters in while you try to launch rockets into its brain. The enemy spawns are random, so you might get lucky and just get a bunch of imps, or unlucky and get pain elementals and archviles. If I got either of those two, I usually just reloaded the save because no thank you. It takes 3 rockets to take this thing down, and if you get the timing right, you can land one on the way up and one on the way down. Oh, god damn it! Fuck it, I'm taking it. Doom 2 was good, the music was better. I need to take a break from Doom for a while because this one abused me. I think I'll play another game I've never tried before.